Hi, friends. Welcome to week 11 of the Bible Together reading program at First Christian Church in Jefferson City, Missouri. I just want to take a quick second and say thank you for continuing to hang in there with me through this program. I know we've been through Leviticus, and that has not been easy to read for some of us. I don't know about you, but I find that I am having a really hard time dragging myself through Numbers, but we are doing it. We're doing it the best we can, and I'm proud of all of us for hanging in there. And remember, as always, do the best you can. And if you need to skim or if you need to just skip some stuff, that's okay too. I still think you'll get something out of this, even if you don't read every single word. So let's jump into this week. One of the first things I noticed as I was reading this week is that this one word shows up in both Numbers and in the readings from Luke. And that word is census. In Numbers 26, God tells Moses to take a census as the people prepare to enter the promised land. In that context, it is about organizing, about figuring out the inheritance, the land, who belongs where, who counts. And right in the middle of that, these daughters of Zelophehad speak up, and they say, "Our father had no sons. Why should his name disappear?" And God says, you know what? They're right. And so the whole law changes so that women can inherit when previously they couldn't. It's this moment where someone who didn't count before suddenly does. But then just a few chapters later, we get to some laws about making vows, and those laws seem to limit women's agency. And then we read this horrific, violent stuff in Numbers 31 that just made me go, yuck. That's literally in my notes, yuck. There's this tension that goes all the way through these readings. Who has power? Who gets protected? And who doesn't? When we turn to Luke, there is another census. This one is ordered by Caesar, the most powerful man in the world. And yet, it is not to Caesar that God shows up. Jesus is born and laid in a manger because there's no room for him in the house. He is born to a poor couple who, when they go to make their sacrifice, they get to use the option that God provides for poor people, a pair of pigeons or turtle doves. Angel armies fill the skies to announce this birth not to kings and princes, but to some poor shepherds out tending their flocks in the fields. And then when Luke sets the stage for John the Baptist to begin his work in chapter 3, Luke lists all the powerful people of the day, Tiberius and Pilate and Herod, all the religious elites. But the word of God doesn't come to any of them. It comes to John out in the wilderness. And John starts talking about fruit. He says, "Don't assume that you are golden just because of who your ancestors are. That's not what makes you part of God's people. It's certainly not what makes you part of what God is doing right here and now. Instead, John says, what matters is that you bear fruit worthy of God." He gives some examples. Share your food. Share your clothing. Don't cheat people. And don't use your power to harm others. So practical and grounded. And then Jesus is baptized and God names him beloved son. And Luke traces his lineage all the way back to God, which is fascinating because unlike Matthew, Luke doesn't name any women in Jesus' genealogy, even though Luke's gospel is the one that so often seems like it lifts up women and outsiders. Not in this moment. It's like this quiet reminder that even in the telling, there are still gaps, still tensions, still places where people aren't fully counted the way they should be. So this week, I guess a question we can consider is, who counts? In Numbers, it's about land and inheritance and structure. Who gets a place? In Luke, it's about something deeper. Who is actually responding to God? Who's bearing fruit? Who's paying attention? Because again and again, it is not the powerful people in these stories, not the ones at the center of the world's action. It's the people on the margins, the ones out in the wilderness, the ones overlooked, the ones who are ready. And maybe the invitation for us this week is to notice our own world. Who counts in our world? And who's overlooked? And are we paying attention to where God is actually showing up, especially when it's not where we expect? Thanks for joining me again, and I really do hope that you hang in there and join me again next week for number 12. Thanks. Bye.